Hey everybody, welcome back. Hey, last week you saw Bob start my shop. You saw him lay the foundation, you saw him build all the walls, you saw him raise the walls and sheet the outside. This week you'll see Bob build the two gable ends. You'll see him raise all the roof trusses. They'll be on 16-inch centers. Then you'll see him deck the roof and also do some prime and painting. So another busy day for Bob. We're glad you tuned in and hope you enjoy it. Thanks for watching.
You're going to see Bob raise the gable end. He does all this by himself. He'll tack this end in, then later on he'll go down and he'll tack the other end in. And then he comes back and he builds the gable support by support. He'll double up the one in the center and he'll double up the third one to each side. Now he'll come back with his square and make sure everything's square to the top plate. And he moves over to the other side and he does the same thing to the other side. Now as Bob moves to the other end, the gable end, you get a good view of how he raises these trusses. Pops it up on the top plate and then just walks it up. And you'll see him, he'll square it up and he'll nail it and tack it. And he does go to the other side eventually and squares it up and tacks it up as we see here. Then he'll continue to build this gable end support by support, just like he did at the other end. And again, he'll double it up in the middle, and he'll double it up on the third one from the ends. And then he'll use his square to make sure he's square to the top plate. Now for the next minute or so, we'll just watch Bob put the siding on this gable end. It's his process. Like I said, he has his own way of doing things, and when you're working by yourself, you have to find ways to accomplish whatever needs to be accomplished. When he gets through at this end, he'll move on down to the other end and sheet up the other gable end. So let's just watch Bob work. Now as he gets ready to paint, he's putting caulk all around the outside. He'll caulk up every nail that he drove and attaching the siding, and then he'll roll on the paint. He does this before he puts the roof on so that he can really get up under the eaves without worrying about anything. With it painted, Bob now moves on to raising the individual trusses for the roof, and they're 16 inches on center. He uses the same method that we saw when he raised the gable end. Sets it up on that top plate and walks it up. He has lines drawn on that top plate every 16 inches. So he's got it marked as to where he needs to tack it in. With the trusses up, now he can start laying the roof decking. It's a 1/2 inch OSB, and notice those little stops he put up there that positions the deck flush at the end where he needs to be. And he just tacks it in. Notice him adjusting the trusses so that they stay on 16-inch centers. There's lines drawn on his roofing material too. Here you got a good shot of him tacking those little stops up that assists him in putting the decking up. But there's lines drawn on this material every 16 inches, and he just centers that up with the trusses, and that way everything stays all square and nice and neat.
Oh, Bob's a machine, isn't he? Very impressive. Hey, tune in next week and you'll see Bob. He'll finish his part of the job. He'll put the shingles on the roof, and then he'll do a little bit of trim out. He'll put the windows in, and then he'll be through. A couple of days later, we've got some guys coming that'll put the doors in. I don't know if I'll be here when that happens or not, so we may not video that, but we'll see. But then we'll get into the electrical, and then we'll get into the lighting, and then walling it up. So it's beginning to look like a shop. We're really getting excited about it and looking forward to it. We appreciate you guys tuning in, and until next week, stay safe and have fun.